Suddenly you are face to face with Rick Doblin. He is at the United States. You are here. He arrived on time for this digital meeting. His name, as well as the organization MAPS, is commonly associated with scientific studies about psychedelics and industry of cannabis. Our first hit, Rick. What is your main purpose in life?
My main purpose in life is to help mainstream psychedelics into a Western culture, and more importantly than psychedelics, it's about the states of consciousness that they produce. So I'd like us to move from a culture that has prohibited and suppressed drugs that facilitate changes in consciousness to a culture that welcomes non-ordinary states of consciousness, and particularly the kind of spiritual experiences that people can have that help connect them to everybody else. Because I think there's strong political implications of the mystical experience that psychedelics can help people to experience at a deep level.
We see on the internet exactly what MAPS is about. But it is always interesting to hear it from its own mentor.
Okay, MAPS is a non-profit psychedelic and medical marijuana pharmaceutical company. That's the best way to think about it, that we are supported by thousands of donors, and we are trying to develop MDMA and marijuana, LSD, other drugs into prescription medicines for their medical potential. And as part of that work, we've looked at where there might be possible backlash, and that's led us to Boom. Because one of the concerns that people have is, young people who might have difficult experiences with psychedelics, and parents could get scared of that. So even though we're primarily developing drugs as prescription medicines, we're also working with a whole other project on harm reduction at festivals like Boom. And Boom is a world leader in psychedelic harm reduction.
This is a wide market of choices. It makes sense to change everything. So what is, by now, the main interest of MAPS?
Main things that we're doing right now are focusing on MDMA and the therapeutic use of MDMA-assisted psychotherapy for post-traumatic stress disorder in veterans from war, and men and women who've been sexually abused, raped as a child, and people with natural disasters, accidents, and also MDMA for people who are scared of dying, who have life-threatening illnesses, and also for people who are on the autistic spectrum, who have social anxiety. So we have active studies with MDMA there. One of our other areas is in the treatment of addiction. So we're studying ayahuasca and ibogaine in the treatment of opiate addiction. And then a third main area is looking at harm reduction and trying to introduce policies of harm reduction at psychedelic festivals like Boom, like Burning Man. We were just at Africa Burn and Vision, Lightning in a Bottle. We do this all over the world to try to build a post-prohibition world, because the problems of psychedelic drugs will not disappear once they're legal. We need to provide cultural and social support for people that may have difficult experiences. And then the fourth main area is marijuana research. And we're trying to study now marijuana for post-traumatic stress disorder, and we're trying to end the political obstructions that have blocked research trying to make marijuana in the plant form into a medicine.
There is a point that concerns particularly to the boomers, something related to responsibility, harm reduction.
Well, we've started working on harm reduction with Boom in 2002. And, it's very impressive that Boom is the world leader in this whole approach towards the responsibility of festival organizers to try to ensure that people who have difficult experiences have support to benefit from them. And so what we've found is that the principles of psychedelic harm reduction are very similar to the principles of psychedelic psychotherapy. And we've been able to bring psychotherapists and trainees to serve at festivals to help people with difficult trips. And the main four principles of our harm reduction approach are to create a safe space, help people feel safe and supported, that we talk about sitting, not guiding. And what that means is that we are not guiding somebody through some experience. We hardly, sometimes don't even know people until they show up. That's often the case. So we're not their guide, but we're sitting with them, supporting them as they do their own work. The third principle is that we talk through, not talk down. And that means that we try to help people look at their problems, to talk through it, instead of saying, don't worry about your problems, your drug will wear off in a few hours, think about how beautiful the world can be. And then the fourth, and I think the most important principle, is that difficult is not the same as bad. And so people who tend to take drugs for recreational purposes, they're just looking for fun. And if they end up having memories of difficult experiences, they say, oh, now this is getting bad, I'm going to suppress this, and that can make them worse. So we have training programs at festivals that last usually about 4 hours to train people to sit for other people. We are trying to make it sustainable, and Boom, again, is the world leader, where they pay for a small part of the team, they pay for the facilities, they let everybody know that the facilities are available, and they have on-site drug testing to make sure that people are taking what they believe that they are taking. And that's something that's possible in Portugal because drugs are decriminalized. It's very difficult to do that anywhere else in the world. So again, we keep returning to Boom as a world leader years ahead of what we'll hopefully be able to establish in other locations. And so we use the harm reduction both to build a post-prohibition world to help a lot of people, and then also to train therapists who get time while they volunteer, working with large numbers of people who come in for their assistance.